Hey everybody, welcome to another casual conversation with myself, Jonathan Mitchell, my dad, Michael Mitchell, at Strategic Wealth Partners in Conway, Arkansas. I had an idea for a topic I wanted to talk about today that I think would really be really applicable and beneficial to pretty much everybody watching. Most people work somewhere where they've got a 401k or a 403b or something equivalent, depending on where they work. Maybe a 529 that they've set up for their kids because they're being good parents. They're planning ahead for their child's education.
Yeah.
Right. Or, a lot of people have like a Roth IRA, something like that. So those are all pretty common plans that, a lot of people, I don't know if I'd say most, but a lot of people are involved in.
We see a lot of those.
Yeah. But I want to talk about one strategy, one approach today that I think is better, might be, a strong word, but I would consider it better than all three of those. So better than a 401k, better than a Roth IRA, better than a 529, because with this one approach, that we're talking about, gives you potentially better tax treatment, more liquidity and access to that money that you're setting aside at any time over the period that you're putting that money aside, and really less restrictions and obstacles to get around to access that money.
Exactly.
Right?
Yeah. The thing that I find that I think is a lot of people miss when it comes to just overall planning is the concept, the difference, if you will, between planning from a micro perspective and planning from a macro perspective. When you're thinking about putting money in a 401k plan, that's kind of a micro world. It's like it's its own little world. And you're thinking about, how much do I want to put in it? How am I going to invest the money that's going into it? Is my employer going to give me a match? If so, what is it? Those are the issues that surround making decisions about that macro issue. If you're thinking about a 529 plan, it's the same thing. It's a it's a micro issue.
Yeah.
So you're just thinking about specifically, how am I going to make choices and decisions surrounding that one issue? If you're thinking about a Roth IRA or a Roth 401k contribution, you're thinking about that as a micro unit unto itself. The strategy that we're talking about can basically work from a more macro perspective. And when I say macro perspective, what I'm really talking about is when you put money into your planning model and you apply a dollar to your model, what you want to have happen is you want multiple economic benefits to spin off of the application of that dollar. So let's think about it for a minute. If you're putting money in a 401k plan, you're placing a dollar in a micro component of your overall plan. It's only going to do one thing, basically. Well, maybe two. It's going to grow on a tax-deferred basis. You're going to invest it, and that's pretty much what it does.
Yeah, so you put money into that before any taxes have been taken out of it.
Correct.
And it's gonna, you hope that it grows,
right?
From there.
And you grow it without having taxes having to be paid on that money while it's in the account.
While it's growing.
But it's only basically doing those couple of things. If you're doing a 529 plan, you're putting a dollar into it, and it's basically going to give you essentially the same thing. It'll give you a tax benefit, and you'll be able to ultimately use those dollars if you're using them for education. But that's basically pretty much it.
Yeah.
A Roth IRA, same thing. You're putting money in after tax. It's going to grow, and you're going to get to take it out tax-free. With restrictions. You can only put so much into it, and you have to leave it there until you're 59 and a half.
With the Roth, you put the money into it after taxes have been taken.
Correct.
It grows, and then you're able to take that money at some point in the future and use it
That's
tax free.
right. As long as you meet the IRS's restrictive approaches to using money in a Roth. Now, the macro complement that I'm talking about is again, and we're talking about an index universal life insurance contract. It's a permanent life insurance plan. And I'd like the people that are listening to, for the moment, if they can, in their minds, forget I said life insurance. Just forget it.
Yeah.
It doesn't, that's just the wrapper that it comes in. Let's talk a minute about the economic benefits that play out when you place $1 into that life insurance contract, okay? What happens is you suddenly get multiple economic benefits spinning off of it. Let me list a couple of them. One, like a Roth, you're putting money into it on an after-tax basis, but it's going to grow tax-deferred, and you will be able to access it tax-free. So that's a couple of economic benefits. Accessibility, as opposed to a Roth account, you can get money from that life insurance account on a tax-free basis well before you're 59 and a half, so it eliminates the restrictive issues.
Because it is a cash-growing insurance contract. It's a permanent insurance contract.
Right.
Right? So
Correct.
Yeah.
Obviously, it has a death benefit. That's an economic benefit. So there's three. The fourth one is if you structure it properly, you can actually put disability benefits into a life insurance contract so that if you became disabled, you could actually see the policy self-complete, even though you're disabled, without putting any more money into it while you're disabled. So there's a fourth economic benefit.
Yeah. So there's flexibility.
There's flexibility. That's another economic benefit.
I think a lot of people get scared with permanent insurance because they think, ooh, if I have that payment like set up, and like what happens if something happens with my job, the economy gets weird, like and things get crunched, well then I've got that payment I've got to
Correct.
But with an index universal life contract, like what we're explaining, there's flexibility to either to pause it, to
suspend it. You actually, if you come into a windfall of cash, you actually could increase it.
So there's more into it.
Yeah, there's lots of flexibility, but when you see the power of using cash that's coming out of a life insurance contract, you basically get 5 to 9 different economic benefits that spin off of that life insurance contract. And I've said this in previous conversations that we've had in this venue. I believe a properly designed permanent index universal life insurance contract is the most powerful wealth building tool that we have available to us, because it's custom designed to be a macro strategy creator. So
meaning it affects multiple facets of your financial life.
For example, just one really interesting example. You've got a lot of money built up into, you've done a really good job of putting money into IRAs or 401k plans. You got a whole lot of money in those accounts, and you're approaching retirement. Okay? And suddenly we find us living in a world where our taxes are no longer in the 20% area, the 25% area. Now, because of the debt that the nation carries, our tax rates now have gone up to 40, 50, 60, or 70% like it is in Sweden. And that's not out of the realm of possibility. There's actually historical precedents for that. So now you've got a lot of money built up in your 401k plan, and to get it out, you're going to get taxed to the max. If
you're going to get taxed at whatever the future tax rate is.
That's correct. That is absolutely correct.
The time that you need to use it.
Yeah, when you want to use it, you're going to pay the most to get it out of your plan, unless you've positioned a good index universal life insurance contract in such a way that you actually now have a strategy to be able to transfer the money from your 401k plans,
because you can pull cash from it.
That's right.
At any point.
That's right, and pay the taxes as you go, not out of your pocket, but out of the life insurance contracts accounts. And so you can migrate that money from your 401k plan over into your life insurance contract, and then ultimately use it tax-free. We call that a qualified asset rescue strategy. And it's all because you properly structured an index universal life insurance contract in your macro planning. So I would tell people this: when it comes to planning, forget getting bogged down into making micro plan decisions. Build a plan, and that's what we do here at Strategic Wealth Partners. We build a plan that is macro in nature, it's holistic in nature, so that we can utilize and activate these economic strategies that spin off multiple benefits to people when they place their money into their plan. That's really what we do, and that's what we do best.
Yeah, and it's that one tool, that Index Universal Life contract it's like a magical product. It's wild, when you start really getting down into how it works, how powerful it is.
Yeah, to me, the saddest thing about all of that is people have been, and I think, miseducated about how to use life insurance contracts. They either think of a term insurance policy, that's what they've been told most of their life, or it's basically something that I buy and put on my life so that when I die somebody gets something. There are many, many more living benefits that can spin off of a properly designed permanent life insurance plan other than just the death benefit. And it is a magic product. It is a very powerful product to create wealth that you can utilize that you probably would not know to do or be able to do any other way unless you just got with somebody that could educate you about how to do it.
Yeah.
And that's what we do here at Strategic Wealth Partners.
Yeah, so just to review really quick, this one Index Universal Life contract allows you to set money aside, attach it to stock indexes. So similar to like a 401k or a Roth, where you're putting money in and you're connecting them to mutual funds or things of that nature, the market, right?
Right.
Index Universal Life contract, you're able to do something similar. You get the tax benefits when it comes time to use that money in the Index Universal Life contract. You get to use it tax free. Where with a 401k, you're going to pay taxes in the future at whatever the current tax rate is, similar to a 529. Right?
Yeah, well, no, a 529 basically is a tax-free distribution on a plan, but that's limited only to education.
Yeah, it has
funds.
to be used for a very specific thing.
That's correct.
Otherwise, you can get access to the money, but you're going to pay a penalty.
Right.
Right.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
If you want
don't
to do
use
it
it for what it's designed to use. Yeah.
So there's a lot of restrictions there. It's a very niche product. It doesn't do a whole lot other than that one thing.
Yes.
And you can get the benefits of that in an Index Universal Life contract.
Well, if you think about it, I mean, what do you do a 529 plan? You put it in so that you can ultimately use it for education, and there are tax advantages for doing it that way. Life insurance contracts, you can do exactly the same thing. You can use those funds at a time that you need them the most to educate your children on a tax-free basis, just like a 529 plan, but you're not locking that money up so that you only have a single-use purpose for it.
Because your kids may decide they don't want to go to college.
Yeah, that's
or
possible. Yes.
For some other reason they can't do that, and then you get that money set aside.
Exactly.
And it's very difficult to deal with. And then with a Roth, you've got limitations on how much you can put into it each year. To where with an Index Universal Life contract, there's really not those limitations are not there.
Yeah.
And you get the same tax treatment.
Correct.
But you get easier access, so it's more accessible in that life contract than even in a Roth IRA.
Yeah, it is.
Right.
Quite a bit more.
Yeah.
So again, to me, the key is learning how to plan from a macro perspective and get the most out of what you're doing, rather than focusing on these units of micro plannings, which are good in and of themselves, but they're limiting you to the potential of what you could achieve.
Yeah, that's good. Yeah, so like we said, this is what we do every day. We're very skilled at designing these kind of contracts and products, and we would love to sit down with you and show you exactly what that could look like for you. We don't charge a fee to sit down and talk and answer questions and even put a plan together for you. So I really encourage you to reach out and set up a time with us. You can connect with us at www.theswp.com. We've got a form there where you can reach out to us, drop us a message or a comment here on this video, and we'd love to connect with you.
Yep.
Yeah, well, that's good.
And if you want to just do kind of old school stuff, I'm an old school kind of guy.
Yeah.
You could actually just call our offices at 501-329-2054, and we would love to have an opportunity to talk to you.
Absolutely. All right.
Great.
I think that was a good conversation.
I do
All
too.
right. Thanks for joining
Thanks.
us. Talk to you soon.